Hello, David. This is Terry Carter.
Hey, Terry. Good to hear your voice, my friend.
I got a bunch of questions for you.
Okay. I hope I'll have a bunch of answers.
One, you explained to me how John Brewer explained to you how he got into his cave and what it looked like inside.
Yes.
Will you explain that to me again?
Okay. He first found it from the smoke overhead on a kind of an archway of rock. Like if it's sort of recessed back toward a cavern. And then they built fires. He noticed the smoke. He knew where to look, and noticed the smoke mark on the upper part of the cavern. The sort of a cavernish recess. And so he dug down, had to dig down a few feet, and found the opening.
Of a cavern?
Yes.
Okay.
But he knew that other people would find that too. Be careful if you go in there.
Be careful of booby traps? Or?
Well, be careful because there's according to, if Johnny Brewer has any credibility in this, if it is the same cave, you got to be very careful because close to the entrance there is about an 8-foot diameter hole. And in the dark, a guy might
fall in, huh?
And he said he threw a rock down there and never did hear it hit.
Really?
And one time, when he went in, the water had come up through that as a sort of a tunnel, but had come up, and that's when he found that the wall was actually made of these little stone boxes.
Oh.
And of course, a lot of the water had come up through this chamber.
Ah.
But be a little cautious. Make sure you have plenty of light before you go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because that could be. He said he had to put things over to walk across, but he said there's nothing down there. He never hits the bottom.
Yeah.
That may have been an exaggeration, but
yeah.
That's what he told me.
Well.
And I've often had nightmares about that one.
Wow.
I have determined that I probably would not go in it. Would not even go in if he said, "Climb, stoop down here in this little 18-inch hole and climb down there and hopefully you'll land on something solid." I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then he said the walls of the cave, of course, it widened out, and there were 2 sarcophagi, the large ones, which eventually he and his son unlidded and found the 2 mummies, the male and the female, with the headdresses. And now what he's done, what he did then was caused an avalanche to cover up the entrance.
Okay.
And then he drilled, whatever, a hole about 18 to 20 some odd inches in diameter down from the top straight down to the entrance where he had closed it up. And so he ended back up in the same place where he was, only it was hidden pretty well from then on.
He was right over the top of that hole.
Now the wall of the cave, one time when he went in, the water had been up 30 inches in the cave. And when it did, he presumed it had come through that bottomless hole.
Okay.
And but he noticed then the brick-like arrangement of the stone boxes. And he said the entire wall, 9 feet high by about in the 20 to 30 feet long, that wall was totally made up of those boxes. That was not, he thought at first that was just the edge of the cavern. And then when the water had come up that time, it had melted the mud off of the wall and showed the bark. So he dug out and took out 6 of those boxes. And he gave one to the Y, one to the U, one to Paul Chessman, and one to a couple other people. He may have even kept one. He's never said.
I know that Chessman said that he took 2 out, or I think Chessman said that he got 2 from Brewer. Do you know what happened to the other one?
Nope. Paul never told me of another one.
Okay, and I know
he gave me the one.
Yeah, and I know that Gail Port ended up with some plates. Do you know if it was a box and it was one of them, or if it was just the plates?
I think those were plates out of the box.
Okay.
And didn't he just have photos?
He claims that he had plates. Gail Port did.
Yeah. Could have.
Okay.
Could have. I'm not sure. Everybody makes claims, and
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just giving you what my experience has been.
Well, let me tell you what I've come across.
Okay.
Did Johnny ever mention about he sketched his cave?
Yes.
Did you ever see it?
Nope.
I got a copy of his sketch.
Oh, that'd be fun to see. That would be fun to see.
So
I'd love to see that. There may be some clues there.
I would definitely want you to see it, because I'm trying to jog everybody's memory that has anything to do with it, and you're one of the biggest people that had something to do with it.
So I concluded where it was, and that's about 2 to 3 miles south of Manti.
Outside of Manti? Or
yeah, this is south of Manti. Actually, out of Manti.
Right out of Manti.
There's a road, the Forest Service road.
Yep, I know the road you're talking about.
It goes up to some Forest Service site, because there's the Forest Service has signs there.
And it goes up and on over into a lake?
Well, it could do, and that's probably where everybody goes. But it seems to me, my vision of it, or from his description, is it's about maybe a mile up that canyon.
Up that road, huh?
Up that road.
I've hiked around that area.
Harry, this is fascinating. I'd love to see that drawing. I'd like to see if his description of it triggers the same thing. If in looking at that map, it looks like anything that I was, that I was told. Memory of him describing it to me was, but how.
Well, some of it is, because you described to me before when you dropped down through the hole that you made before, that he made, the new hole that he made, he happened to drill it right on top of that hole.
It was very close.
Yeah, well, but that hole is right at the bottom of a step. One of the steps that come down.
Yeah, he didn't tell me anything about steps.
Yeah.
But I figured there must be something, because that is so scary. Apparently that hole is just bottomless.
Did he tell you about having to squeeze through a portion of the cave originally, or when he first got in it, to squeeze through a tight fit?
Well, I think the tightest squeeze is that hole he's drilled.
The one he drilled?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the impression I got. The other one was, when he dug down, he barely made it to the crown of it, and he had to squeeze through there and then walk down the alluvial part.
Okay.
That was covering the entrance. But the entrance, he said, was large, and it would have been very obvious to a lot of people.
The entrance was large, but then he got in it and dug down and found the tight part that he got into it.
Well, now that could be.
Here's what I think happened, and see if this jogs a memory to you. Okay, I found an area that the entrance was fairly large. Then you got in and you had to squeeze down to get into it. I mean, I had to get right on my belly, and I had to suck all the hair out of me, and as I pulled myself through it, my back scraped on the rocks going in it. When I got inside it, in the very back of it, there looked like a place that was like it went down, but it looked like rocks had fallen in it or caved in it or whatnot.
Well, what about the hole? Is the hole there?
Well, it would be it would be at the bottom of these steps and into that room, and you said that he dynamited or caved it in or whatnot. It looks like that's possibly happened.
Caved in the outer entrance.
It looks like that has happened.
Yeah, but that hole
to the back of this.
No way he could have filled that hole.
No, according to his drawing, the hole is down farther.
Further in the cave.
Farther in the cave.
Well, could be.
And so, and then, looking at this cave, he's excavated a lot of dirt. I mean, a ton of dirt.
Yeah.
Did he say how much dirt he excavated out of there?
No.
According to this drawing, he's excavated a ton of dirt.
Could be, because he's been up there a lot.
And, in his journal, he states that he scatters all the dirt amongst the scrub oak.
So nobody would know.
So that nobody would know, but he's had to, looking at this drawing, he's had to excavate a ton of dirt, and when I get up there, it looks like a ton of dirt's been scattered. Another thing, I think I remember you, or maybe it was somebody else. I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and somebody else was, or maybe it was you, I'm thinking it was you, that if anybody ever wanted to excavate and get things out, they'd go to the back side of the hill and drill in or something like that, and they could open up and get right into it.
Hadn't heard that.
Okay, that must have been somebody else that told me that.
Yeah. Well, this is fascinating, Terry. And then, of course, I've still got those photos that, let's see, you gave me those, didn't you?
Which photos is that?
The additional petroglyphs.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those things.
Yeah.
I've carried them around in my briefcase.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, that's my real true love is those things, figuring out what they are. But I really think that they may tie into this stuff.
It's going to be fascinating. I believe that there's a connection, and certainly Johnny believes it.
Oh, did he say that?
Oh, yeah, he believes that there's a connection. Definitely a connection to the ancients here and to the petroglyphs. He knows that there's a connection to the petroglyphs because that's where when he found the map, all those petroglyph sites are marked on the map.
And it showed them petroglyphs or what?
Yeah.
Oh, it did?
Oh, and it showed various places on the map showed petroglyphs.
Ah.
No, he's very convinced that there's a connection between the petroglyphs and the cave.
Okay. Did he say anything about being writings near his cave? Any kind of markings at all?
No, he didn't.
Did he mention finding a lot of Indian artifacts in it, or?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Okay.
And that's what when he found it, that's what he was doing.
Okay.
He was looking and he saw the smoke site there and thought, well, it could have been just the ledge that they were living on. He looking around there for artifacts and started digging down and then realized that the smoke went right down into an opening.
Okay.
And when he uncovered the top of the opening, he realized what he had.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently had no problem getting in and all that at that point. And that's when he got paranoid and decided he needed to protect this from everybody else. Does his drawings show the two sarcophagi?
Yes.
Good.
And it kind of looks like they're one on top of the other, kind of.
Well, they were sort of, as I recall, his description to me is they were end to end. There's no way they could have lifted them off. It was tough enough, he said, just getting the lids off.
Yeah.
But lifting the whole sarcophagus was out of the question.
Okay.
Because it was huge.
Well, it says caskets, top man, bottom woman. Well,
it could have been in niches.
Yeah, I'm sure of that because it does show that there's some shelves in the walls.
Yeah. And they could have, who knows, they could have been stacked. But I don't know how in the world he was able to get the lid off the bottom one then.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But it does show that they're not right on top of each other.
Yeah,
it does show a space. It does show a space between them.
And kind of crowded in a niche, kind of tilted. But anyway, the fact that says it has two sarcophagus, a man and a woman, that tells you it's the cave.
Well, there's there's no doubt that this is his drawing.
Yeah, the drawing is definitely.
And supposedly this was supposed to have been destroyed, but it never got destroyed. Somebody had a copy of it.
Oh.
And it's I finally tracked it down.
And I saw another drawing of the cave too.
Oh, you did?
That was showed a long, and then this one gets kind of spooky because he said that there was someone that some spirits were guarding it and insisted he leave. And this was someone else that told me this. That supposedly it was Johnny Brewer's cave that he went in. He was this guy that Johnny befriended and trusted, and then he broke the trust.
Uh-huh. Was that Johnny's neighbor? Or?
Yeah, he was somebody that Johnny knew.
Okay.
It was, he told me a little bit about the story, but I've lost that one. But it was a long, winding cave, and there were people there. There was this spiritual being or vision or something that scared him out.
Was that a different cave, or was that the cave on the west side, maybe?
One, but it could have been an extension of this cave.
Okay. Because I know he had the two caves. He had the one on the east side and the one on the west side.
Yeah, it didn't look like the same cave. And, that could be a matter of why there is so much confusion in this.
He's telling two stories, and they're getting crossed up.
Two of them.
Mm-hmm. There was two caves.
Two related caves.
There was two caves.
He never told me that.
Yeah, there was two caves. One on the east side. The east side was the first one he found, then the one on the west side.
Oh. Well, that's clear out of my realm.
Okay.
I never did have any knowledge of that. Although there's a cave he found artifacts on the west side of the valley, opposite the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew of that site because of the writings on this map rock. And then there were other sites mentioned, and it showed all of them. He said the ones clear up as far as Pocatello, and clear down as far as Cedar City, and east to the one in Colorado.
Uh-huh.
All of those were marked on there, and all of them are the Nephi ones, the Ogden ones. And he said they were all marked on there with little footprints going from one to the other. But he didn't have the whole map. He only had about 3/5 to 2/3 of the map.
Ah, okay.
And he was looking for the other part. But he said the main thing on the map is the one on the west side, up on the tops of the hills.
And that was the main cave with everything.
Site, as far as the map rock is concerned, it showed it as being like
the big one,
the major deal.
Okay.
And that's the one that he was looking for, and when he invited me to hike with him.
Okay. And he had you looking for a special symbol or something that was showed up on that?
Oh, yeah, he did, and I've written that symbol somewhere, but I sure have forgot it. It was kind of like, let's see, what was there? It was a little bit like a totem. Wings, kind of an M, wings on the top of a post.
Okay.
It's a different symbol than any of them. But he drew it for me, and I do have it in my memoirs.
Now, do you the box that you had, and the plates? Do you know that if it came out of the east cave or the west cave?
No.
You have no idea which cave it came out of.
He told me. Well, believing him, it came out of the cave. All I know is it came out of the only one I know of.
Okay. And did you ever? I guess you've seen pictures of the mummies that he drew, right?
Nope.
Oh, you never seen them either?
Nope.
Oh, I'll show you them too.
He showed me a little bit about the headdress.
Okay.
And apparently they found something in Las Vegas very similar to that.
He told you that, or?
No, someone else told me that. That he's never mentioned Las Vegas.
He drew pictures of the mummies. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I did not.
He drew pictures. He sketched the mummies, and he also sketched the room. And he took them to Lucian bound to be photographed, along with the plates, because he tried to photograph them, and he wasn't getting the writings to show up. He wasn't getting the lighting right.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucian bound photographed all that, and then John wanted it all destroyed, all the negatives and everything destroyed. Well, before that happened, a guy came down and posed as being from the University of Utah, and being a professor, and wanted to buy the photographs, and so Lucian sold them. Well, it turned out the check was bogus, and the people weren't professors, and so that's how these photographs got out.
I see. But you have a copy?
Yeah.
That's a separate piece from the cave?
That's a what?
You have a separate copy of the mummies?
Yeah.
That is separate from the cave drawing?
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. How wonderful.
Well, these mummy drawings have been around for a while because John Heinerman had a copy of them, and he printed them in his book, and they've been around for quite a while.
I think Heinerman's the man I was trying to think of that let him down.
Yeah, okay.
And he's the one that came up with this other type of cave.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 caves fits. That would open up the realization for a little of the discrepancies. Is that the 2 caves were different.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'd love to see the drawing. Are they very detailed?
Oh yeah, real detailed. I don't know if you know, John was an artist.
Oh.
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people, and they say that the things that he could do with a piece of wood was just unbelievable.
I'll be darned.
Anyways,
just hope the things he could do with a piece of rock or what.
Well, he did forge some things, and he admitted it in a bishop's or in a when he testified against Heinerman in a bishop's court. Mm-hmm. He did admit to forging some stuff.
Yeah, and so you never know when it's going to stop.
So right, but your box, David, was ancient. The box you had was ancient. There was no forging that bark.
Well, that's right.
There is no way that box could be that bark.
You got confirmation of that, didn't you?
Yes, there's no way that could be forged.
That's old stuff.
That dated 2500 BC, plus or minus 150 years, I think.
And you've confirmed that since we've met. Since we talked.
Yeah.
And you had told me about that. My gosh, that is really something. Those are real then.
That is real. So, but what I was getting at, you remember the one plate that had kind of the snake or the dragon's head on it?
Yes, there was one with a headdress, the guy sitting, a little plate with...
Yeah, there's a guy standing, and then there was a guy with kind of a snake head or a dragon head or an alligator head or something like that.
More like an alligator.
Yeah. Okay, well that alligator head, and then the lines right after that, I believe is the guy's name, the man's name in the tomb. That was his plate, because that exact same thing shows up on his tomb. That same writing. And she has one too. It's like it's their names, is what I would say.
Well, and that figures that their boxes have their same thing in them.
Their history, yeah.
Interesting deal. Yeah, they could have been very important characters.
Yeah. Did he say anything about what was inside the cave, or just other than how he found plates? Was they loose? Were they? Well, I obviously said he found the wall, but I believe that wall you're talking about happened on the west side. No, but you said that the water came up through the hole, or is that you just surmising that?
He surmised that the water was 30 inches. he knew it was 30 inches above the floor of the cave, and he surmised it came up through the hole.
It came up through the hole. Because this drawing does not show that box, that wall of boxes, unless maybe he found that wall of boxes way after he did this sketch.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he did. He found those at a later date.
Okay.
Because
I'm assuming these sketches is probably took place around in the 50s or 60s. Is what I'm assuming. Probably the 60s.
You mean he drew them then?
That's what I'm assuming, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact he would have, because it would have been, that's right, it would have been sometime, Lucian Bound photographed him sometime in the later 60s, so it's probably around the middle 60s that he drew them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems to me that you're on the hot trail. I think, I'd support you in doing something about it.
Okay.
Now, he owns the land. Can we verify that?
Well, he claims that he owned the land and that there was a court battle. The kids was trying to get it back. It wasn't in his name. It was in a friend's name. That may be true, or that may just have been a smoke screen so that people wouldn't have tried looking for it, knowing that it was on private property.
Yeah. Okay, I'll see if I can smoke out some of the stuff that I had in writing, and we'll take it from there.
All right, now I'll get with you in the next day or two and come
do it.
Come get with you and share these photos.
I'm out of pocket. I have to run up to Salt Lake and speak at a funeral.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm good the rest of the week.
Okay.
Okay, my friend.
All right, David.
Appreciate it. Have your people? Have you met with your group?
Yeah, we're gonna invite you to the next one, and excited to have you if you're interested.
I'll be happy to. I'll be happy to participate.
Okay.
Okay, my friend.
All right, Dave.
Thanks, Terry.
Bye.
Bye.